So the reason I wanted to do this Periscope session tonight, and the reason I chose to do it on Periscope is just so I could speak to a few people at the same time, really, and just kind of give some hints and tips, just where to start, and just how to motivate yourself, really. So that's the whole point of it. It's a question I get asked all the time: is how do I start? I'm not making any progress. How do I improve? So I'm gonna just give you some little tips to keep you going. My story is I basically in my early 20s was about 5 stone overweight. I piled on the pounds when I was at university, too many beers and takeaways and things like that. And like I say, I ended up being 5 stone overweight. I plucked up the courage to join a gym because it was a ladies only gym. And then I remember the week before I was going to go for the first time, it went bust and I was absolutely devastated. So I ended up deciding to take up running. And my memories from school were horrendous because I remember the school cross country, being at the back, it was freezing cold. There was nobody to kind of encourage you or support you. You were just kind of left to get on with it. And that was my lasting memory of running. But when it came to needing to get fit again, it was the only thing that I could do kind of under cover of darkness. Exactly. I think it's a few people, Nicola, isn't it? It's a horrible kind of memory for people, and that's why people have such a good, such a bad relationship with running. But like I say, it was something I could do in the dark. I could head out when no one could see me. I remember waiting till like 9 o'clock at night and it was completely dark and putting my trainers on and heading out. And I think the first time I went out, I don't think I was even able to run for 10 seconds, to be honest. But I was proud that I got out the door and I was chuffed. And I think that's one of the things that you have to do is kind of separate how you felt back at school to how you feel now, because you're a different person. You're not that person that was running around the field that nobody was supporting, and it's something that you can do in adulthood. You just have to believe that you can do it. So that would be my first advice. Banish all thoughts of school, any memories of school that might be holding you back, and just see this as a fresh start to try a new hobby, just to take up a new activity that's going to help you get fit at the end of the day. And the best thing to do is just to get out there and do it. Pop your trainers on. All you need, a decent pair of trainers, a decent sports bra, and just get out of the door. It's the best thing that you can do is just take that first step and just get out there. Hi Anita, lovely to see you. Once you've taken that first step, don't put too much pressure on yourself to run. Just congratulate yourself on the fact that you've got out the door. And do you know what? Any running you do in that time, be it 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, is an absolute bonus. The fact that you've left the house is the most important thing. So take that first step on your journey, lace up those trainers and just get out there. Once you're out there, like I say, don't put too much pressure on yourself. The Couch to 5K app is a really, really good place to start because it'll help you build up your distance and your time of running really, really gradually. And you can kind of tick off the weeks and the days that you head out there, and it will just keep you motivated. And like I say, for any beginner runner, it's a really, really good place to start. Also, when you head out there, don't worry about what other people think, because I remember thinking, oh my God, there's people driving by. Oh, you'll be fine, Anita, don't worry, they'll look after you, I promise. But don't worry about what other people think when you're out there, it doesn't matter. Sometimes what you think people are thinking negative thoughts, sometimes it's actually a positive thought. Sometimes people are thinking, wow, good on her. Exactly. It's a really good feeling, isn't it? It's nice to kind of feel part of a community when you're out running. But like I say, people might not be having negative thoughts about you and you're running. They might not even notice you, to be honest. Exactly. People are so... Yeah, Nicola, a lot of people worry about what other people think, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Sometimes they won't even be aware that they've passed you. You'll be worrying about it more than they do. And like I say, a lot of the time people are thinking, yeah, the quietest time I did that as well, when it was dark as well and nobody could say anything. But just put any fear of that aside and just kind of head out there and be proud of what you're doing. What I find as well in the early days, to keep you motivated, one really good tip is to use a diary And at the beginning of the week, so on a Sunday night, actually black out the times that you're going to run, write them in your diary. If you need to, put a reminder on your phone and just commit to those times, because you'll feel like if it's written down, or even tell somebody that you're going running at that time, because you'll find that if you write it down and you commit to it, or you tell somebody, you're more likely to do it. Whereas if you start the week and sort of have in your head, right, I'm going to go out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there's nothing to keep you to that. So make sure it's written down, or tell a friend, or better still get a friend to go with you. And then you will, you know, if you feel like you're letting somebody down, you're more likely. Exactly, Anita, that's it. It's a positive thing that people have taken this step. And most people think that now. I think the tides are turning. The other thing I would say is don't give up. It will hurt at first. Breathing can be really, really difficult. And that's the thing that most people struggle with. People panic when they feel like they can't get their breath. So my advice always through that is find the thing that works to distract you, because it will get easier. So for example, I've got ladies who sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I've got others who listen to audiobooks. Starting too fast. It's really hard to pace yourself, isn't it, when you go out on your own? What I would say is if you feel like you've gone out too fast and you're struggling to breathe, just take the pace off. Take the pace off a little bit, slow down, recover your breath, and then try again. But don't get frustrated by the breathing thing, because all that is your body adjusting to the new exercise that it's doing, and it will settle down and you will find ways to cope with it. So don't let the breathing thing be the thing that puts you off. Just keep going through it. Your legs will hurt. That's perfectly normal. It's again just the body's normal reaction to what you're doing basically, and it's just learning to get past that. And I remember going out one night and I was really stressed. I think I'd had an argument with my boyfriend or something, and I'd always struggled with my breathing. And I went out this one night and I was stressed, and all I was thinking about was this argument and what I was going to say next and this, that and the other. And before I knew it, I'd been running for about 20 minutes without even realising it. And that's what made me realise if I could take my mind somewhere else and take my mind away from the pain I was feeling basically, then I would get through it. And once you get through it, that's when you realise you can keep going. And that's when you realise that actually running is possible. A lot of people stop before they get to that point because they feel like they're never going to get there. But actually you can. You've just really, really got to keep going. The other thing I really use, the audiobook. There's some really good ones out there, Nicola. One that's been recommended to me, I don't know, I haven't checked it out myself, but it's something about somebody's dad liking porno or something like that. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but that seems to be the one that everybody's using at the minute when they're out running randomly. So I'll get the name for you and I'll let you know. I know exactly. I'm sure it's something like My Dad Likes Porno or something like that. Anyway, I'll find the name for you, ladies, and I'll let you know. But the other thing I really like is, I promise, Nicola, I'll get you that one. Tonight, I'll make it my first job. But the other thing I think is really important is to reward yourself. So treat yourself to something that you never really get time to do. So if you manage to get out there 2 or 3 times a week, exactly, you would. But if you manage to get out there a few times a week, give yourself a little reward at the end of the week of what you're going to do. You know, for some people, it might just be as simple as a nice hot bath with a magazine, you know, peace and quiet, anything that for you would feel like a little bit of a luxury, because we don't always get the time. Use that to reward yourself. And some people I know, they actually have a little rewards list, and they just tick them off when they've kind of given them. So always kind of treat yourself for the fact that you're getting out there, and also recognise the fact that it's pretty impressive what you're doing, and be proud of it. Like I say, even if you get out of the door for 10-15 minutes, it's a bonus. The other thing that I would say is I have a jar of joy, which I've actually forgotten to bring in the room with me. But basically, a jam jar. And every time I head out for the run, I put £1 in it for every mile. Oh, thank you. I'm sure it would fit nicely, Anita. It would look lovely on you. But no, I call it my jar of joy. And every time I go for a run, I put £1 in for every mile that I do. And if I've really, really struggled to get out there for that run, I'll put a couple of £1 in. No, it's true actually, isn't it? You don't get the same recognition. I know what you mean there. Yeah, I know. It's sometimes like, it would be nice to have a medal every day, wouldn't it? But use your jar of joy and then just say, right, okay, in 6 months' time, I'm going to empty this jar because of all the hard work I've done, and I'm going to go and buy myself something nice and treat yourself. And again, just reward yourself for the fact that you're making, massive steps to get fitter and improve at your running. So that would be my other tip. Finally, keep a diary. A lot of my ladies now, they kind of forget where they started. And I find that a real shame because what they've actually achieved is incredible. But because they never stop to look back and they always want to go further or faster, they never actually look back and think, wow, this time last year I couldn't run. I've got one lady who actually, she really beat herself up by the fact that she had to walk for, I think, a minute in a 10k race that she did, and she was actually devastated, and she crossed the finish line and she was in tears. And I said to her, this time a year ago you weren't even running, and now you're beating yourself up because you can't run a 10k without stopping. So keep a diary, log your runs, log how you felt after each one, and keep looking back at that. If you have a bad day or you feel like you're not getting anywhere, have a look back at that diary and the notes that you made about that run, and you'll be really, really surprised how far you've come. Nicola, I hear you ran your first mile without stopping the other day, which is really, really impressive. Again, write it down. Be proud of the fact that you've achieved that, and just keep looking back and thinking, actually, I am making progress. There will be days when you have a bad run. Exactly, go Nicola, it's amazing. There will be days when you have a bad run. I still have them now. There's days, it doesn't matter. It's brilliant. It's really, the walking doesn't matter at all. The fact that you can say that you ran a mile without stopping it is absolutely brilliant. And that will just keep getting better and better. But if you do have a bad run, I still have them now. There's days I walk out of I run out of the house and I know for whatever reason the run's just not going to work that day. So it happens, but you just have to kind of put that one to bed, not dwell on it, don't think about it, move on, and just go back to what you were doing and keep on making progress. So anyway, ladies, I hope you found some useful tips in there. Has anybody got any questions?